wolf cut isn't gonna be until May, right? After I cut my wolf cut down to in May, down to a 3-guard close, I'm gonna wolf again until June, July, August, right? August, maybe I might go until September. You feel me? I might even go to September. So I'm wolfing all summer. So I might even cut my hair in the summer. You feel me? I'm not cutting my hair in the summer. I'm wolfing all summer. I'm keeping my hair laid, doing my washing styles 2 or 3 times a week. You feel me? So it don't really bother me with the weather and stuff. I'm always wolfing. That's what real wavers do. You want to start from the crown. You can work down to the hair. You need to start the waves and continue even with all the heat. Hey man, this is what I do. This is what I do for a living. I don't care about the heat. Is a 4-month and counting a long wolfing are perfect? 4-month and counting is kind of over wolfing, so you may start losing progress if you don't know what you're doing. So I would definitely recommend 8 to 10 weeks is kind of like the max when it comes to wolfing, because if you go anywhere past 10 weeks, it's kind of like, what's the point? You know, just cut it down and start over, start a new wolf. But 4 months, that's kind of like, that's 16 weeks. If once is 16 weeks of wolfing, I think that's too much. I think it's time for a cut and start another wolf session. But March, April, May, June. So I usually wolf for about 10 weeks and I cut down. So my next cut's gonna be around June 1st, like first week of June, I'm gonna cut down. Then it's gonna be June, July, August, March, April, May, June. Yeah, end of May going into June, I'm gonna cut my wolf, and then from June, I'm gonna go to July, August, September. Then I'm gonna cut my wolf again, beginning of September or mid-September, back to back to school and stuff. Matter of fact, I'm probably not even gonna cut my hair in September. I think I'm gonna start my hair growth journey in September, where I grow my hair out. My hair transplant time, trying to see how my hair transplant looks when they fully grown hair, like a big old afro. I'm gonna grow my hair out and just see how that does.
Asia, welcome to the chat. Welcome to the chat.
Can you make a laugh?
Wa alaikum salam. Wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Yes. Happy Saturday to you. I hope all is well. Hopefully we can get some people in here. I don't like really starting until we get a handful of people. Anan, welcome to the chat, brother. Hold on. So I can't do it here. Is this your original channel or not? All is well. What's going on, Destroyer? Trying to get a handful of people in here, so we can start, reacting to some vids. Yeah, I don't know. I know I didn't. I know you. Do you want me to make you mod on this one? Yo, I'm about to give y'all this dude. Appreciate you, Destroyer. Appreciate that. My brothers and sisters, there's this guy. His name is Ken Apologetic Christian, right? So he does these lives called Islam is False, live debates. So if y'all want to go in there and y'all want to debate and try to get a couple of people from there, please please do. Alright? Again, I'm gonna pull him up right now so y'all can see who he is. His name is Ken Apologetic. These fools need to be taught a lesson. Apologetics. It's going slow. Give me a second. Apologetics Christian. Hold on. Let me pull them up. Okay, here he is. Yo. I don't know if y'all can see it. But since I already have him on here and I know who he is, I gotta check my live real quick. If you're new to the stream, double tap that screen. I don't know how many people are in. Probably my people. Alright. If you're new to the stream, you should already hit that like button. Alright? Hit that like button. Oh, you'll do, okay. JIL, what's going on, brother? What's going on? At about, I'll say about 6:45, we will be doing some workouts, doing some jump rope. I added some jump rope. I'm gonna add some jump rope, and we'll be doing a couple things with that. I just want to do like a couple videos here that we can react to. If anything, if y'all want to get back on doing this, then we can do that. Omer, welcome to the chat. You seem like you're new to the stream, so double tap that stream. New to the live, subscribe. See, people like this, bro. I can't deal with. They're cringy. This is a cringy people. Very, very cringy people to watch. But if y'all want to debate this guy, go ahead, get on his channel. Obviously, he get on live, so be looking for him to be on live. These people are very cringy. Rami Al Khalil. Rami Al Khalil. Okay, okay. We'll react to Rami Al Khalil as well. If y'all new to the channel, man, hit that like, hit that like, okay? Hit that subscribe. We're getting close to 600, okay? Getting close to 600. Alright, Anon, I'm about to make you mod. Alright, let the stream know. Like and subscribe, my guy. Cody, welcome to the chat. Appreciate it, brother. Appreciate it. Appreciate it. So we gonna go ahead. I just wanted to let anybody that wanted to, you know, good, brother. Good, brother. That's what I need you to do. Go ahead, man. I happened to go on live and I swiped over his live and I said, oh, okay. I was like, okay, let me let these people know, and then start recruiting people from his, start bringing people from his channel to mine. How about that? Yeah, true story, man, true story. All right, let me I'm gonna pull up one of these, and then Asia, the sister Asia wanted me to look up, she wanted me to react to something as well. Give me a second, y'all. My cousin at the door. Y'all give me a second.
Welcome. You know, it's pretty amazing when you think about how an entire universe of meaning can be packed, not into a book or even a chapter, but into a single line. Today, we're going to unlock the incredible depth hidden inside just one powerful verse. And here it is. On the surface, it seems pretty straightforward, right? It's describing 3 qualities of a believer. But here's the thing. The real magic isn't just in what's being said. It's in the words that were so carefully chosen. We're going to take this apart piece by piece. And that right there, that's the key to this whole explainer. The author picked these incredibly specific, profound words that carry so much weight. By looking at the words that could have been used, we can really start to appreciate the genius of the ones that were. Okay, so let's dive right in with that first quality, belief. Now, this seems simple enough, but there's a distinction here, a choice of words that just changes everything. The verse could have just said, those who believe in God. Easy. Super clear and direct. But it doesn't. It uses this term al-ghaib, which means the unseen. So why? What's the difference? Why make that specific choice? Well, this is where the meaning just explodes. The unseen is this incredibly vast, all-encompassing idea. It's not just about belief in God. It's about belief in everything that's beyond our five senses. We're talking angels, revelations like past scriptures, future events like the Day of Judgment, even prophets from the past that we never saw with our own eyes. Choosing this one word, el-ghaib, transforms a single act of belief into an entire worldview. Now let's move on to the second quality, and you'll see the exact same pattern here. The verse talks about prayer, but once again, it's the specific verb that's used that just peels back this whole other layer of meaning. The text could have used the word yusalluna, which literally just means they pray. It's an action. But instead, it uses yukimuna, which is translated as they establish prayer. Now, that might seem like a tiny little difference, but the implication here is massive. What does it mean to establish something instead of just doing it? Well, establishing prayer takes it from being just a routine into being a complete, disciplined institution in your life. It means you're doing it with all the right conditions, you're observing the core pillars of the prayer itself, and, this is crucial, you're offering it consistently at its proper, prescribed times. It's about building a foundation, not just going through the motions. And that brings us to our third and final quality described in the verse, and this one's all about our wealth and how we use it. And as you've probably guessed by now, the wording here is just as deliberate, just as expansive. Again, it could have been simple. The verse could have said they donate, and we'd all immediately think of giving charity, right? But it uses the word yinfiqun, which just means they spend.
All right, chat. All right, chat.
Way bigger responsibility than just giving a few
What
dollars.
we got going on? What we got going on?
And just look at this. Look at this scope this one word covers. Spending isn't just
Come
about
on,
giving to
Anon.
others.
Don't be
It
simping
includes
up in this
mandatory
chat,
charity
man.
or zakah,
We don't do
any
simp
extra
up in here,
voluntary
man.
charity you give, and get this, it even includes spending on your own family and spending
Don't
on
be
yourself,
simping, brother.
as long as it's done moderately. It's an entire
Don't be
financial philosophy,
simping.
all wrapped up in that one word.
You simping, you tripping. You simping, you tripping, man. Hold on, man. I'm trying to get this together, y'all.
Yeah, sometimes you read a sentence and think, okay, I get it. But what if that
All
single
right.
sentence holds an entire universe of meaning? Well, today
All
we're
right,
going
y'all
to
don't want to hear all this. Let me go through
unpack just one verse
some
from the
shorts, because that's what I was supposed to do initially. And go through some shorts. So here, and then we gonna, since Asia was my first person in here, I'm gonna go with her reaction choice. But let me
Did you know whenever a child was born, they used to take it to the prophet who would chew a piece of
This is how mountains are transformed into dust.
Balloon, as we expand it, we see that every dot drawn on this black balloon, like the night sky, is moving away from every other dot. Balloon.
Did you know whenever a child was born, they used to take it to the prophet who would chew a piece of date and rub
New
a
to
part
the
of its
stream,
juice
double
on
tap
the
that
palate
screen.
of a newborn? Science explains
Welcome
that
to the
a dose of
stream.
sugar given
Welcome
as a
to the
gel
stream, yo.
rubbed into the inside of the cheek is a cheap and effective way to protect
It's
premature
about
babies
knowledge,
against low sugar
about
in
learning,
blood
about
and brain
Islam.
damage, say experts. The date juice is exactly natural sugar, and rubbing on baby palate is effective way of absorption and to maintain the blood sugar. Did you know whenever a child was born, they used to take it to the prophet?
This is how mountains are transformed into dust when the pressure of magma in a volcano is extremely high. Such force turns the mountain into complete dust. The Quran also mentions similar events on the Day of Judgment,
Welcome,
when
welcome,
it says,
Hassan.
and when
Welcome.
the earth throws out its contents. And the earth and the mountains will be lifted and crushed into pieces, and when the mountains are blown away as dust. Earth throwing its burden possibly refers to forces of magma that are hidden inside Earth,
Welcome,
which will be
Anon.
expelled, and their pressure will cause the earth and mountains to lift
I
up
already said
and turn them
welcome,
into
Anon.
dust, as
Welcome,
shown in the video clip. This is how mountains are transformed
Zanab.
into dust when
Welcome.
the pressure of magma in a volcano is extremely high. Such
Asher,
force
what's
turns the
going
mountain
on,
into
brother?
complete
I hope
dust.
you still in
The
here.
Quran also mentions similar events
Welcome,
on the
welcome,
Day of
brother.
Judgment, when
Day
it says,
one.
"And when the earth throws
I
out
hope
its
all is
contents,
well with you,
and the
Asher.
earth and the mountains will be lifted and crushed
May
into
Allah
pieces, and when the
continue to
mountains
make it
are blown
easy on
away
you
as
and
dust."
strengthen you.
Earth throwing its burden
Ameen,
possibly
ameen.
refers to forces of magma that are hidden inside Earth, which will be
Appreciate you
expelled,
coming back,
and their
bro.
pressure will cause the earth and mountains
Yeah, now
to
we
lift
doing
up
these
and
type
turn
of,
them into dust,
streams, man.
as shown in the video clip. This is how mountains are transformed into dust when the pressure of magma in a
Chat,
volcano.
probably already
Such
said
force
it.
turns the mountain.
الدين الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم.
The details of names in these stones proved Quran is.
And Allah will ask on the
The mystery behind figs and olives in the Quran will shock you. Have you ever wondered why the Quran mentions figs and olives? This isn't random, but a reference to the location of Palestine where Prophet Isa was born. And in the next verses, it describes the location of Prophet Moses and Prophet Muhammad. Geographers have found that in Palestine, the most naturally produced fruits are figs and olives. That's why the Quran references the fig and olives for the location of Jesus, which is an extraordinary poetic style of telling about location. The mystery behind figs and olives in the Quran will shock you. Have you ever wondered why the Quran mentions figs and olives? This isn't random, but a reference to the location of Palestine where Prophet Isa was born. And in the next verses, it describes the location of Prophet Moses and Prophet Muhammad. Geographers have found that in Palestine, the most naturally produced fruits are figs and olives. That's why the Quran references the fig and olives for the location of Jesus, which is an extraordinary poetic style of telling about location.
Oh, he did one recently about excuse me, y'all. Excuse me. We're gonna do something short-lived right now. Something new, something fresh, something that is hold on. I'm gonna go to his channel real quick. I wonder what happened to the 3 Muslims, man. He was one of them that was on there. Oh yeah, I know about Rami, man. It just took me to see his face to know that he like that. UK American becomes Muslim. Let's start with this. Y'all.
If you're serious about doing well on the LSAT, like, this is the way. Yeah, I mean, it really, like, changed my life.
Why
I
we're
got a
celebrating.
170. I got a full ride to the University of Florida 11
Laurel,
and then I ended up
welcome
with a
to the chat.
was able to raise my score 10 points. So
My
I
bad,
am
y'all.
Assalamu
know
alaikum wa
what they
rahmatullah,
talking
and welcome
about.
back to the channel. There are 2 names of Allah that we recite every single day multiple times, at least 17 times every single day. And those names are Ar-Rahman, Ar-Rahim. They sound so similar, but they're not exactly
When y'all
the
here,
same.
man, y'all make
They're
sure
both
y'all
beautiful
share the
names. I mean,
live,
once
man.
you learn what
Share
they
the
mean
live.
and all the linguistic connections between Ar-Rahman and Ar-Rahim, you will be mind blown, I promise. And they're usually translated as the most gracious, the most merciful, even though mercy is a definition of both. So what do they actually mean? Let's define the root word first. Ar-Rahman and Ar-Rahim both come from the same root word, which is Rahim. Ra, Ha, and Mim. And it has linguistic connections and meanings of mercy, compassion, and also the definition of the womb of the mother, believe it or not. And now this imagery with this word is beautiful, because if you think about the womb of the mother and what it does for the baby that's inside of it,
I know,
it
Destroyer.
takes care of the baby.
That's why I said I
every
wonder
way
what happened to
possible. It
them.
quite literally shapes the baby's
it's a
world, a
pretty
place for it to
valuable
grow,
one.
to
Yeah.
have nourishment, to be sustained, a place for it to exist and develop. The womb of the mother provides everything that the baby needs to grow. And this is within the body of the person, the human being, who will probably be the most merciful to you in your life, who is your mother. So you have a merciful, loving being carrying you inside of her in a womb that's merciful and compassionate to your every need. This is what Rahamim is. This is what a Rahim is. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala basically uses this root word for two of his names, which we recite every single day. Before we continue, if you're astonished by the words of Allah and want to learn the Quran
some
and
people
the
be
Hadith
too
more,
cringy.
download
I know
the
what you.
Kalam app. They
I
have a
never
special
seen
feature for
Omar
learning the Quranic, Arabic, and the Hadith of the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, and they will have you recite the
I never
verses and
never
recite the
seen his
Hadith, and make
maybe
sure
I
you
have
recite
if
it
I look
correctly.
at his
If not,
face. I
then
know what
it'll
you're talking
recite it
about,
for
but
you, so you know
never
how
heard
to
of
say it.
his
It'll also teach you what it means.
his
You're not just
content.
memorizing words, but you actually
Asia.
understand what you're saying and what you're
But
reciting.
yeah, some
And the
people,
sponsor
man,
of this channel
they
gave us a special code for an extended free trial. Use code Rami. Now let's get back to the video. Ar-Rahman and Ar-Rahim. They both generally mean mercy, but they're different. They're not exactly the same thing. Ar-Rahman is the one who gives a graciousness, a compassion, a mercy to all of his creation, just on a bare minimum level, because they are his creation and because we are living in this life, in this test. So when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allows you as a Muslim or a person as a non-Muslim to live, to eat, to drink, to have life and to experience joys, that is Allah having mercy on them as Ar-Rahman. It's a bare kind of rahmah, a bare kind of mercy for each person that lives in this world. But Ar-Rahim is different, because Ar-Rahim is the one who gives a special type of mercy to those who seek it out. And the reason this is beautiful is because when we recite Ar-Rahman and Ar-Rahim, they're both applicable to Muslims. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives us as Muslims a bare minimum mercy because we exist in this world. Although we forget, although we sin, although we slip, and although we need to come back to Allah, He still has Rahmah with us as Ar-Rahman. But as Muslims, we also go above and beyond.
Whatever you
We
can
also
do,
take
Asia.
extra steps and
You know, I'm
precautions,
just
like, for
talking.
example, in our salah,
I'm talking,
going out of
you
our
know
way
what
to
I mean?
pray when non-Muslims don't. In that case, Allah
Usually
gave
that's what
Ar-Rahim.
Triple Dub do.
He's giving
He
us a
grab
special
people
type of mercy
and
because
have them
we're
come to my
especially
live. You
seeking
know what
it
I
out.
mean?
And that's why
So,
you sometimes you'll see Ar-Rahim being
it is what
translated
it
as
is,
the
man,
especially
y'all.
merciful. So you'll see Ar-Rahman as the most merciful and Ar-Rahim as the especially merciful, because it's a special type of mercy that He gives you because you went out of your way above other people just to please Allah.
Are you having trouble trying to keep up with your professor? You've got to try Otter. Here's how it works.
We don't care, man. We don't care. We don't care. Ask and look up. Got some recent stuff. We can look at something old.
Arabic easily, then download the Kalam app. It's a fun and hassle-free way to learn and practice your Arabic. And if you're thinking about it but you're not sure, then just try it out. You can get a free trial using code RAMI. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah and welcome back to the channel. Every Muslim knows that the Quran is a miracle from Allah, given to the Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him. But most Muslims don't know exactly what that means. They'll say something basic like, it has no contradictions, it gives some prophecies, it's perfectly preserved, and it can't be imitated. But what are the specific examples of not being imitated? What exactly does that mean? What does that look like? So today we're going to go into some of the reasons as to why the Quran is miraculous, something that you can actually share and provide as evidence for people who ask you about it. And a lot of the points I'm using is actually coming from a book by Bpatient, and the book is titled The Miraculous Language of the Quran, Evidence of Divine Origin. To understand why the Quran is miraculous, you have to first understand the environment in which it was revealed. What were the other people saying and doing, and what did their poetry and literature look like? In terms of high-level Arabic literature, you had two main categories. You had the highly structured and deeply meaningful poetry, and then you had rhymed prose, which is basically very short and very rhythmic. And upon listening to one of the two types, you'd be able to categorize them. Oh, this is a poem or this is a rhymed prose. But when the Quran came down, it didn't neatly fit into either category because it broke rules and patterns for both of them. For example, you have something like Surah Al-Asr, where you might initially think, okay, maybe it's a rhymed prose because it starts with Wal Asr, something very short. But then instantly it goes to Innal insana lafi khusr. It's a little bit longer. It breaks the pattern a little bit. And then the third and last verse of the surah is immensely long. It's much, much longer than the first two verses. إِلَّا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَعَمِلُوا الصَّالِحَاتِ وَتَوَاصَوْا بِالْحَقِّ وَتَوَاصَوْا بِالصَّبْرِ. Completely breaking the
Thank you,
pattern.
Asia.
We'll get into this
Appreciate
example
it.
and why the pattern is broken later. But for now, just understand, when the Quran was revealed, it was something unprecedented. It didn't fit neatly into either of these two main categories that they had. And for this reason, it was immensely captivating and kind of demanded the attention of the high-level poets and Arabic speakers. Now we're going to go into some specific examples so you understand why the Quran is miraculous. But before we do that, you have to understand these few examples are just instances. The genius of the Quran is not just occasional, it's continuous, it's consistent, it's all throughout the Quran. And
Appreciate
sometimes you have
that.
one surah that breaks
Appreciate
a pattern
it.
of style every single verse, and there's something innovative and new for every linguistic layer that exists, for things like vocabulary, imagery, grammar, sound patterns, so much more, while also speaking about other traditions and kind of correcting them, like the traditions of the Jews or the Christians. It's such an immensely deep study that it would literally take an entire lifetime to even get close to mastering, and even then you're just going to find that there's so much more that you don't know and has yet to be understood. And with all this innovation, with this variety the Quran provides, it doesn't contradict itself once. Now let's go into some specific examples. First, right off the bat, the Quran uses new words that weren't used before, but somehow the Arabs knew what it meant. For example, they knew the word alam. It means world. Alam means world, and the Arabs knew that. But the Quran introduces a new word, alameen, which means all the worlds. So although it wasn't a word that existed, it wasn't a word that was used by the Arabs, when they heard it, alameen, they knew the word alam, so they're like, okay, alameen I guess means all the worlds. Another similar example is the word kana. The word kana did exist in the Arabic language, and poets and Arabic speakers were using it, but the word kana means was, past tense. That's what it always meant. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He uses the word kana to not only refer to past tense. For example, He says, وَكَانَ اللَّهُ غَفُورًا رَحِيمًا. He says, and Allah is the most forgiving, the most merciful. But if you translate kana as was, then it would say Allah was the most forgiving and the most merciful. So does that mean He's not anymore? No, what the Quran does is it now adds a layer of depth to the word kana. It actually adds an extended meaning. Kana no longer just means was. It means was and is and basically always will be. So when Allah says, وَكَانَ اللَّهُ غَفُورًا رَحِيمًا, and Allah is the most forgiving, most merciful, what He means is Allah was and Allah is the most forgiving and merciful. Now the Arabs never used it like this up until this point. If they wanted to say something like that, they would have one portion to say, kana, this was the case, and then they would have to emphasize afterwards, and this is the case. Like for example, my tribe was honorable and my tribe still is honorable, and the Quran completely changed that. Another few very important and I guess notable points about the Quran is it's the only Arabic literature or only literature in the world that is not recited the way it's written. For example, when we recite Surah Al-Fatiha, we say Ar-Rahman Ar-Rahim. We don't say Al-Rahman Al-Rahim. We say Ar-Rahman Ar-Rahim, or even more accurately, Ar-Rahman Ar-Rahim. It's the only book that's of that length, 6,000 odd verses, memorized by millions of people. And it's the only book revealed in multiple different modes and ways of reciting it, all while being the same book and not contradicting itself. It was so miraculous that even the main haters of Islam at the time, to put it lightly, the main Islamophobes, the main people trying to discredit the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, like Walid ibn Mughira, who was seen as a high-level poet at the time, even he had to say, this is not the word of a soothsayer, this is not the word of a human being, this is not poetry, it's something else entirely. He had to go back to the elite of Quraysh defeated, like, I don't know what to do, it's beyond me. The best of the time was saying,
if you haven't,
and it's not just him, everyone was stumped. The Quran was
if you
so
haven't yet,
innovative,
double tap
so
the screen.
So life-altering for the Arabic language.
I mean,
that
hit
the
that
Quran
like,
had to
alright?
be kind of constructed around it. It was used as the measuring stick. It was made the ruler of the Arabic language. Not just the ruler in the sense that it's the authority, but the ruler in the sense that it's the measuring stick. You could go to the Quran to see if someone else's grammar makes sense, because the Quran is the measuring stick for what's grammatically correct or incorrect. That's how impactful it was for the time, and even up till today. Now, I mentioned we'll get back to Surah Al-Asr, and we're going to discuss that now, because there's another important point. Remember how I said the Quran is not poetry? Poetry follows strict metering. Think about it like rhyming on a beat, like in sets of 4. You want to rhyme on a 4 count, you usually rhyme at the end. On the last beat, you give a rhyme. So 1, 2, 3 rhyme, 1, 2, 3 rhyme. Something like that. There are other variations of that, but that's like the most basic one. And they had something like that for Arabic poetry as well. But the Quran doesn't neatly follow any of those archetypes, any of those meters. And it often breaks a style or a pattern for a specific reason. It's not random. It's to deliver a detailed and specific message. It's to say, hey, this is so important, I'm breaking the style. Pay attention. That's how deep the Quran was. That's how in-depth the Quran and the recitation of the Quran goes. And the example I'm going to give, going back to Surah Al-Asr, is Wal Asr. I swear by time which is running out. Asr is time that's running out. Innal insana lafi khusr. Indeed, mankind is in loss. Very short, rhythmic. And then the last verse, so much longer, breaks the pattern. إلا الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات وتواصوا بالحق وتواصوا بالصبر. Except those who believe and do good and call each other towards the truth and call each other towards patience. It broke the style because that last phrase is so important. The first 2 phrases are letting you know basic information. First, Allah swears by time that's running out, so you understand the importance of it. And then Allah says, indeed, mankind is
Wa alaikum salam, Deen.
And then he gives something so important that he breaks the style. He makes this verse very
Welcome
long.
to the chat.
He says, except those who believe and who do good and call each other to the truth and call each other towards patience. It's stylistic, it's precise, and it's calculated. And Arabic speakers know this is beautiful. Another proof of the Quran's miraculous nature is that it was revealed from the Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him. Now, I don't mean that he was the author of it. Obviously, Allah is the author of it. He revealed it to the Prophet, and then the Prophet revealed it to the believers. But the reason I say it like that is because anyone who wants to say the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, authored the Quran as the person who taught it to the people, they would have to deal with a very difficult to deal with point, to put it lightly. And that point is the following. The hadith of the Prophet is nothing like the verses of the Quran. So if it was authored by the same person, you would expect at the very least the speech to be similar. And there's something called stylometric analysis where they actually compare.
Dean, I am a little tired, man, but keeping my head up, man.
With others,
that's why I
or
put
other
my head
words
up
that
like
you
this.
could have said, to see if the statement was actually from you. And to put it very simply, if I said a statement and you said a statement, we could do stylometric analysis to see if it was the same person who said both statements or if we are indeed 2 different people. Now, that might sound silly if you're standing in front of someone, you could just see who's saying it. But I mean, if you're dealing with documents that go back thousands of years, then you don't know for a fact, you're just reading reports. So how do you compare? Well, you say, okay, this we know for a fact is from that person. This, we're not so sure, let's compare. And they'll see these the style is different, therefore it's a different author. And they do this with, for example, some books of the Bible to say, well, Paul's letters sound like this, the style of this letter is different, so it probably wasn't Paul who wrote this, it was probably someone else. And there was actually a study done where they took the verses of the Quran and the hadith of the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, and they compared them with other verses of the Quran and other hadith of the Prophet to see if they're similar. And they found that the hadith was very similar in wording, it had the same style. And they found separately the Quran was very similar in style. But when they compared the Quran to the hadith, they were completely different. Two different styles, which concludes that there were two different authors. Meaning the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, the so-called author of the Quran, the one who revealed it to the people, was not actually the author. There was another author. He was just reading it or reciting it to the people, which as Muslims is not surprising, but to non-Muslims, they might be shocked because now they have to deal with this fact. They have to answer the question, who authored the Quran if it's not the Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him? And I'll read you a line from that study. The author specifically says, concerning the discrimination application on the ancient religious books, the results have shown the appearance of two separated clusters, namely the Quran cluster and the Hadith cluster. The cluster's distinction corresponds to a clear authorship difference between the two investigated documents, which implies that the two books, i.e. the Quran and the Hadith, come from two different authors. And the author of the Quran, knowing how miraculous this is, knowing how innovative this is, knowing that no one else can imitate this for the rest of time, doesn't just say this is a miraculous divine book. The author of the Quran issues a challenge. The author of the Quran says, this is so divine, this is so miraculous, you can't replicate it, I challenge you to try. So Allah in Surah Al-Baqarah, verse 23, he challenges the people. He says, produce just one chapter like it. Not a Quran, just one chapter like it. And despite the hatred that the Qurayshi elites had for Islam, they couldn't. The best equipped people were not able to live up to the challenge. The people who had the most motive out of anyone in the world to want to refute Islam, the best equipped people to refute Islam according to this challenge, just
yes, love.
Very important to know
I am
that
Muslim.
This miracle is not just subjective. It's
I'm
not
a
just
Muslim revert from 2022.
It's quantifiable. You can actually chart these things out.
Welcome
break
to
down
the
and
chat.
explain
Welcome.
exactly why the linguistics in the Quran is superior to any other literature that exists throughout every category, every linguistic layer that there is. So in conclusion, the Quran did not just use Arabic, it redefined it. It changed it forever. It caused a huge cultural shift and basically founded the greatest religion ever. The truth, the religion from Allah, the most gracious, the most merciful, the most high, the most powerful, the King and the Lord of the worlds. The Quran is without a shadow of a doubt the best evidence that we have for Islam, and Muslims, including myself, especially myself, should do a better job of understanding that miracle. With that being said, I'll see you in the next one. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Okay, y'all.
Imagine that point of death. Now you can see what nobody else can see, and you will see
we're gonna do like a few more minutes of some shorts, and then I'll go back to the halal, and then we can come back. Maybe we'll find.
Has Kyrie texted you back?
I don't want to talk about.
Dude, crying. I don't want to talk about it. What do you want to talk about, bro?
If you've ever asked the person to explain the Trinity, well, you know, there's H2O and liquid and gas and solid.
Welcome
and,
to the chat.
3 in 1. Well, yeah, that's cute, but that's a heresy.
Yeah.
Or you have a body and a soul and a spirit, or a mind.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa
They
barakatuh.
don't know. They're so lost and confused. They have no idea. Present them Tawheed. It's like presenting somebody with $1,000,000. It's beautiful. It's simple to understand. It's coherent. It's in continuity. It's exactly what the prophets teach. It's exactly what the Quran teaches. You'll find remnants of that in the Gospels. You'll find that in Matthew. You'll find that in Mark. And ironically, you'll also find that in John, the most high in Christology. That's all it takes. And also have good manners and embrace somebody and just understand where they're coming from. If you
is he a troll?
Explain the Trinity. Well, you know, there's H2O and liquid and gas and it's solid, and you know, there's 3 in 1. Well, yeah, that's cute, but that's a heresy.
Yeah.
Or
Oh,
you have
okay.
a body and a soul and a spirit or a mind. Oh, well, that's partialism. But what the heck is partialism? They don't know. They're so lost and confused. They have no idea. Present them tawheed. It's like presenting somebody with $1,000,000.
I do want to ask, for Christians who are potentially sincere, what do you think the best method of da'wah is for them?
A lot of people, they work based off of emotion. It's not always about the facts or the logic. The best thing to invite somebody to is tawheed. How beautiful it is. I mean, these people are taught to believe in a dying, rising savior, man, God. It's absolutely ridiculous. They don't think about these dogmas that they have. The Trinity. Once you bring these points up and you present to them such a better alternative, now look, just come and worship one God alone. Free yourself from the word salad, from the philosophical speculation. All of this is Harry Potter metaphysics. The average person has no idea what the heck these things are. They have no clue.
I do want to ask, for Christians who are potentially sincere, what do you think?
Homeowners love
You could read this book all day long. When you're gonna start becoming very familiar and these things are gonna start popping up like that is when you're talking about it. Me, I talk about this every day. Like these things, they're repetitive. They always come up. So when it comes to basic criticisms of Islam, and so because you talk about it so much, these are also gonna stick in here forever. Like the age of our mother Aisha, it's gonna come up whether you like it or not. No matter how many times you address it, it's gonna come up. Slavery, concubinage, war, all of these things are gonna come up. And so when you're talking about it every day, it sticks. You could read this book all day long. When you're gonna start
What are the essentials?
You could read this book all
What are the essentials of da'wah for your particular style, and what makes you good at it?
So something that I've learned over the years is that a lot of the conversations that I have are insincere people. And me, I'm really good at knowing, is this guy sincere or is he not? When it comes to the people who are sincere, all of these books you see behind me, they're useless. Because when somebody is sincere and you meet them where they're at, just the basics, that's all they need. Sometimes somebody hears the Quran and they hear the eloquence and they become Muslim. Some others, it takes a little bit more. They need maybe historical evidence. They want to see the textual preservation. And this is how it is in real person. Online is a very toxic space. There's their side and our side. They're listening to their guys and we're listening to our guys. So when we meet, it's very toxic. So I wouldn't even call these aggressive debates that I have with people, I wouldn't even call it da'wah. It's just debating.
What are the essentials of da'wah for your particular style, and what makes you good at it?
So something that I've learned over the years is that a lot of the conversations that I have are insincere people. And me, I'm really good at knowing, is this guy sincere or is he not? When it comes to the people who are sincere, all of these books you see behind me, they're useless. Because when somebody is sincere...
Your resume is getting you rejected.
A lot of these Muslim YouTubers, they'll never say anything negative or even be able to empathize with people that might not like the rise of a growing Muslim population in the United States.
Praying in the street means the rise of Islam in the West. Seriously? People congregating and praying in the street means Islam is just taking over all of a sudden? It's diabolical almost. We're praying in the street and posting about it online. How is that a takeover? We're still a vast minority of the population. And unfortunately, we're not making a substantive difference in the judicial system in America. I wish we were, because we'd make it better, but we're not. And that's the thing. If we were, I'd be proud and I would say, yeah, we're making these great changes. We're bringing Islam to America. It's just not happening. We're just teaching people about Islam. And if they are guided by Allah, and if they want what's best for them, they'll accept the truth of Islam and they'll practice it within their own lives, within their own home.
A lot of these Muslim YouTubers, they'll never say.
Do you believe that the war in Iran is the catalyst to start World War III or the end times?
I do.
Yeah.
I do.
This is crazy because he agrees with my position now. And my position comes from Dr. Kareem Abu Zayd. I mentioned him before, and I'm reading his book. Most likely, we'll start with Iran and Israel going to war. And he gives his justification for that. And then how that will bring the end of times. Because after that, the caliphate's established in Jerusalem. Imam Mahdi comes out eventually after multiple khalifas. And then Dajjal comes, and then Jesus ﷺ comes, and so on and so forth. The Dajjal being the false Messiah. The Messiah the Jews are actually expecting is the false Messiah. And then the real Messiah, Jesus ﷺ, will come down and kill the Antichrist. And then Ya'juj and Ma'juj and everything comes after that. But it's crazy. He believes the same thing.
Do you believe that the war in Iran is the catalyst to start World War?
All right, y'all.
After 2 weeks,
A lot of these like Muslim YouTubers.
Y'all, if y'all haven't yet, hit that like button. We'll be back on, but for now, I'm gonna go ahead and switch over to my phone and start my short workout. All right, y'all tune in over there like y'all did over here, and make sure y'all share the live. Asia, I'm not gonna break my fast until 7:30. Hold on, I gotta see when prayer time is, but I like to work out before that time comes. So 7:38 is when prayer time is. 7:38. So maybe I can wait a few minutes. Yep, so that's...
Do you believe...
Right now it's 6:41, so 7:38 is when...
After 2 weeks, the pain that used to control his life drastically reduced.
Okay, mashallah, mashallah. I hope the Saturday of your fast went okay. Alright, saying connected. Okay, here we go. Alright. That's